Why you don't trust yourself anymore, and how to get that trust back. Hey fam, welcome back to Sherre Webb Life Coaching. I'm your girl, Sherre Webb, the Mindshift Coach. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like no matter what decision you make, it's the wrong one? Like, it's like you're second guessing yourself constantly. Even when your gut is screaming the answer. Can you relate to that? Or maybe you don't even hear your gut anymore. It's your instinct. You've disconnected from it. You've ignored it for so long, it doesn't even speak up. You know, I know that feeling all too well. And if you are a black or brown man or woman in this world, especially if you grew up in a home where love was inconsistent, conditional, or your voice wasn't valued, you probably learned early on not to trust yourself. Not because you're broken. It's not that. But because the world conditioned you to look outside of yourself for answers. Okay? So today, what we're going to do, we're going to break down why. We're getting real about why you don't trust yourself anymore. I'm going to give you real life examples, and then I'm going to show you how to start getting that trust back. Okay? Not just with affirmations. You know, I do suggest those, but with tools like healing and reconnecting with that version of you that knew who you were before fear took over. This is for my black and brown brothers and sisters, the ones trying to figure out, where did I lose me? So let's talk about it. Here are 10 reasons why you don't trust yourself anymore. The number one reason you don't trust yourself is because you were taught to silence your voice. Growing up, if you got told to stay in a child's place or don't talk back, even when you were asking a valid question, what that does is it teaches you one thing real quick. Your voice don't matter. And if your voice doesn't matter, why would your opinion? You know, you start to question yourself before you even speak. And then it gets worse as you get older. You know, you're in relationships, you know, at jobs, around friends, and you start shrinking. You know, you just kind of start shrinking. So now you hesitate. You second guess. Because that little voice in your head, it says, don't say that. You might be wrong. Listen, I can relate to how this feels. Growing up, my voice, it didn't matter. So I like to refer to this on a very personal level as not having a voice. Now, this doesn't mean you don't have anything to say. It means even if you do, most likely you have experienced, or you may still be experiencing, not being heard. So instead, you hesitate to speak up for yourself at all. Okay? But here's the truth. Your hesitation isn't your intuition. It's your conditioning. And until you recognize that, you'll keep mistaking fear for caution. All right? So the second reason is this. You keep betraying your own boundaries. Ring a bell? Let's be real here. Some of y'all know what your boundaries are, but the moment someone you care about crosses them, you stay quiet. Maybe you don't want to lose them. I get it. Or maybe you just don't want the conflict. I definitely get that. But what happens every time You override your own boundary. What happens? Let me tell you. You stop trusting you. Because now your inner self is saying, well, dang, we said we wouldn't put up with this again. You know, self-trust, it isn't about making these big decisions. It's built in the small ones, like saying no when you mean it, or leaving when you're being disrespected. Period. The third reason you may not trust yourself is this. You mistake people-pleasing for peacekeeping. Big difference. How many of us in our community, we grew up being taught to make sure everyone else was okay and taken care of? Some of y'all were parentified, as I was, okay? That means you were raising siblings, emotionally supporting your parents, or keeping the household from just falling apart. And now you've confused keeping the peace with sacrificing your peace. Listen to me very closely. People pleasing is not a personality trait. It's a survival tactic, okay? But here's the issue. Every time you put others before your own truth, capital T, you send a message to yourself that their needs matter more than your own instincts. And over time, that erodes the trust in yourself. The fourth reason you don't trust yourself anymore is this. You weren't allowed to mess up growing up. Did you grow up walking on eggshells? If you did, then you can most definitely relate to this one. You probably felt like when you made one wrong move, your mom or your dad or whoever raised you was yelling or cussing or worse. And I know you know what I'm talking about. You weren't given room to make mistakes. And because of that, failure feels like danger, not growth. It took me a long time to get that. So now you freeze when you have to make a decision. You overthink it. You hesitate until you've over-researched everything. That's not caution. That's a fear of being punished. You get what I'm saying? Listen, real trust in yourself, it only grows when you allow yourself to get it wrong sometimes. But if your childhood made mistakes feel unsafe, you'll keep playing small just to avoid the fall. Number 5 is this. Trauma rewired your sense of safety. Listen, when you've been through real trauma, neglect, abuse, heartbreak, betrayal, your nervous system becomes your guide. Okay, but that guide is scared. It's afraid. So even when something good shows up, you don't trust it. You don't even trust you to pick right. That's how self-trust erodes, through trauma that told you you're not safe with your own choices. It's not just emotional. Hear me. It's neurological. This is why healing, it isn't about being soft. It's about retraining your brain to believe, I got me now. I got me. It's not easy, but it's possible. Okay? Now, the 6th reason you may not trust yourself is that you've stayed in survival mode way too long. When you've had to hustle your whole life just to make it out, pay bills, keep going, you don't even realize your instincts are running on survival, not strategy. And here's the thing, in survival mode, trust is not a priority, safety is. You don't pause to reflect. You're just reacting. You're just reacting. You're not building. You're dodging. You're dodging this problem, that problem, this person, this. And listen, what happens when you finally have time to slow down? You don't know how. You don't know how. You don't know how to trust yourself when life isn't on fire. That's why rest feels dangerous almost. Stillness feels weird and suspicious, But real self-trust is built in stillness, in reflection, in those quiet moments where you choose to hear yourself again. Okay? So moving along, let's move along to number 7. Number 7, people have undermined you for years. You ever tell someone your idea and they hit you with something like this? You sure you can do that? Or that's not really your thing, Or this one, even worse, don't get your hopes up too high. And then all of a sudden, you start questioning your idea, your vision, not because you didn't believe, but because they didn't. Listen, I can remember when I started coaching and I was making my YouTube videos, right? I did not get the support I thought I would from my friends and family. It did not. And I thought I would. Even when, like I mentioned, starting a podcast, those closest to me, they questioned my ability to succeed in what was back then only a dream. Listen to me. You must believe in yourself, even when no one else does. You must trust your vision for your life, even when no one else sees it, because sometimes they can't. I just kept going, and eventually I began to see the fruits of my labor. Okay, so keep going. When you are constantly undermined, it eats away at your self-belief. Now every time you try to move forward, those old voices, they are whispering, you're not ready. You're not ready. You're not enough. Listen to me. That's not your voice. That's the programming. Okay. And we're about to rewire that today. So let's get to number 8. You have made decisions that have hurt you. Let's be real. Some of the reason you don't trust yourself is, quite frankly, it's you. You picked the wrong partner. You stayed in that job too long. You let people disrespect you. You ignored your gut. And now you think you can't trust your own judgment. But hear me out on this. That wasn't a lack of wisdom. That was a lack of healing. And you made the best decision you could with what you had at the time, okay? Self-trust it's not about never making mistakes. It's about knowing you'll learn from them, right? So let yourself off the hook so you can trust yourself to walk again. You know what I'm saying? So number 9, here's the 9th reason you don't trust yourself anymore. You've been told you're too much. Listen here, let me talk to my loud talkers right now, my passionate people, my visionaries. Y'all are my people. If you've ever been told you're too intense, too deep, or too emotional, too sensitive, this one's for you, okay? You started shrinking. You muted your voice. You questioned your instincts because they couldn't handle your bigness. You started doubting it. But guess what? God didn't give you that fire for no reason. You hear me? The problem isn't that you're too much. It's not. It's that they were too small to handle you. Okay? And now it's time to relearn the sound of your own voice. All right. The last reason I have to give you of why you don't trust yourself anymore is this. You don't know what's really driving you. Sometimes we don't trust ourselves, because we don't even know what we really want. You understand? It's the goal you have even yours, or is what you thought success should look like. Is that your thoughts? So much of the time we chase money and validation, aesthetics, but inside we feel empty. And how can you trust yourself, trust a self that's unclear? Right? Self-trust requires self-awareness. When you get clear on your values, your why, your boundaries, your needs, then and only then you can finally move with confidence. I'm going to give you some tools to start trusting yourself again that'll help you. All right? Number 1 is the gut check journal. It's journaling. So every day for 7 days, write down one decision you made and how it felt in your body. Then reflect, like, was I anxious? Was I calm? Was I performing or being honest? Just one decision. And be honest about it. This will train you to hear your own voice again. Okay, the second tool I want you to use is small promises will equal big confidence. So listen, start making micro promises to yourself. Nothing wild. I'm talking about something like, I'll drink 1 extra glass of water a day. I'll wake up 10 minutes earlier a day, or maybe just the next day. Every time you follow through, you're telling your brain, I can trust myself to do what I said I would. That's how self-trust builds. It's stacked brick by brick by brick. Here's the third tool, the best friend test. That's what I'm going to call it, the best friend test. Before making a decision, ask, if my best friend were in this situation, what would I tell them? That pulls you out of survival mode and puts you in truth mode, okay? Because you're going to tell your friend the truth, you love them, right? I want you to then apply that advice to you, all right? So the fourth tool is to sit in silence 5 minutes a day. Listen, this ain't about meditation. This is about reintroducing yourself to you. No music, no scrolling, just you, your breath, and your thoughts. Okay? Listen, that quiet time will reveal how loud your intuition really is. Here's the fifth tool. I want you to speak it out loud. Stop overthinking or thinking everything through in silence in your head. Say your thoughts out loud, even if it's just to yourself in the mirror. Okay? Hearing your own voice, it brings clarity and conviction, and it creates alignment between your heart and your actions, right? Here's some bonus tools you can use. Prayer or talk to God is number 1 for me. I talk to God about everything, about small decisions. Here's another one. Set reminders on your phone that says, you got this, or say no, more often to practice your voice. I want you to track your emotional triggers in your phone's like notes app. All right? So, listen. So now you know why your trust is broke. And you've got the tools to start rebuilding. But I want to leave you with this thought. Trust isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. You ain't got to be on all the time. You don't. You just have to stop abandoning yourself. When you say you're going to rest, rest. When your gut tells you, no, that ain't it, listen. When you feel overlooked or forgotten, remind yourself of who you really are. Because self-awareness, self-trust, it grows every time you choose you. Okay? Let me tell you something. I trust me because I have survived me. Okay? I've buried versions of myself that other people never knew. But I've also cried behind smiles and I still showed up. I have fought battles silently and still came out stronger. So no, listen to me. My confidence, it's not cockiness. It's earned. And so is yours. Okay? I want to say a short prayer together. All right? God, thank you for showing me what was always in me. Not because I'm flawless, but because I am chosen. Okay? I release the voice of doubt. I release the weight of shame. I forgive myself for abandoning me. I walk forward, not perfect, but present. And that is enough. Listen, if this message spoke to you today, don't just like the video. Live the message. Okay? I want you to download the free self-awareness journal in the description below. It's going to guide you deeper into the real you. And if you're ready to stop second guessing and start becoming, this is your space, okay? This is your space. I want you to subscribe and join this movement of healers on this journey, on this channel. This is where you can be honest about your journey, your struggles, and yes, especially about your triumphs. So drop your comments below, okay? My name is Sherre Webb, the Mindshift Coach. I want you to have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next video.